Vipassana Meditation Handbook Wat Phradhatu Sri Chom Tong Voravihara. By Dharma Mangala Jan V. Venerable Jan Tong Siri Mangalo. Appreciation. The way to Nabana, on which every Buddha, his foremost disciples, and all the rest have trodden, is the only way that is called insight meditation with the four foundations of mindfulness. The only way is unique, the way by which the Buddha was enlightened. Buddhist commentaries define it as follows. 1. Because it has no intersection, it is called the only way. 2. Because it is for each to practice by oneself, it is called the only way. 3. Because it was discovered by the Buddha only, it is called the only way. 4. Because it exists only in Buddhism, it is called the only way. 5. Because it aims at only one goal, Nabana, it is called the only way. Thus, Buddhist communities, let us walk the only way. I appreciate the disciples who united in faith to bring out this book, the Vipassana Meditation Handbook, Path to Nabana. May all of you, with my blessings, come to know the sublime Dhamma of the noble ones and realize the path, fruition and Nabana in due time. Mangala Ajan V. Preface, the 3rd edition. We had the opportunity to practice Vipassana meditation with the four foundations of mindfulness at Phradhatu, Sri Chom Tong Voravihara, Chiang Mai, and we would like to share this practice with other people by publishing this handbook. We hope that this English version is clear to understand and follow, and adheres closely to the content and meaning of the Thai version, in order to support non-Thai speakers who are interested in Vipassana meditation practice. We would like to thank the abbot of Wat Phradhatu, Sri Chom Tong Voravihara, the disciples, 2014, donators and supporters, for supporting us in publishing the 3rd edition of this handbook, September 2016. Preface, 2nd edition. Look, you who understand the danger of life, death and rebirth, the four foundations of mindfulness are the only way that leads to the purification of being and the end of all sorrow, suffering and lamentation. This is the path that leads to Nabana. This book teaches the practice of the four foundations of mindfulness. This is the only way for the purification of beings, for freeing oneself from sorrow, lamentation, for the complete overcoming of pain and distress, for attainment of the noble path, and for realization of Nabana. This book is aimed at practitioners who have some experience or those new to insight meditation. It allows practitioners to read about and have a clear understanding of what Vipassana practice is and how to start practicing Vipassana. As mentioned above, please understand that the book itself is merely showing the path that leads to Nabana. However, it is everyone's own responsibility to strive for reaching Nabana by practicing Vipassana according to Lord Buddha's teachings. You yourselves should make an effort. The Tathagata can but show the way. And from the last section of the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, that indeed whoever practices these 4 foundations of mindfulness in this manner for 7 years, or of 2 results, is to be expected in him: arahantship in this very existence, or if there yet be any trace of clinging, the state of anagami. Whosoever practices these 4 foundations of mindfulness in this manner for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 year, 7 months, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or half a month, or 7 days, one of 2 results is to be expected in him: arahantship in this very existence, or if there yet be any trace of clinging, the state of anagami. May the merits of our donors be a good precondition for the attainment of Nabana. May they and their family be blessed with peace and happiness always. May the donors all be free from any defilements and come to experience the miraculous calmness in due time. The Disciples, August 2014. Table of Contents. Appreciation. Preface. Table of Contents. Paying respect to the Buddha's relics at Phradhatu, Sri Chom, Tong, Voravihara. Paying respect to Longpo Bet. Paying respect to Kruba Si Vichai. A short biography of Honourable Prat Dharmangala Ajahn V. The essence of Buddhism. Doctrine. Guidelines before practicing. Practice. Steps in the practice. Reviewing the knowledges. Dedication of merit. Bibliography. All Buddhas and their perfected disciples have entered Nabana by way of the 4 foundations of mindfulness. The gift of Dhamma exceeds all other gifts. The Buddha said, Nabana exists, the way to Nabana exists, the one who shows the way exists. If you do not strive, how can you reach Nabana? Chanting. Paying respect to the Buddha's relics at Wat Phradhatu, Sri Chom, Tong, Voravihara. I pay homage to the Dakinamoli relic, a piece of bone on the right side of the crown of his head, revered in the 3 worlds, placed in a metallic spire, honoured, renowned by all people, and charming. I will always revere it. Near the beautiful town Angavanhaya, on the mountaintop where the tree Bauhinia variegate grows, is enshrined within a golden cavern the Dakinamoli relic. I will always revere it. Paying respect to Longpo Pet Buddha image. By body, by speech, and by mind, I will always revere the image named Diamond, the Buddha statue, working wonders of psychic power. May I be blessed forevermore. Notice, the Buddha image in front of the shrine of the Buddha relic is named after the most valuable precious stones. This indicates the Thai people's faithful veneration and high respect of the image called Longpo Pet. Paying respect to Kruba Si Vichai, a northern monk in the recent past who has been highly revered for his practice and teaching. Life without mind purification is like barren land, or a container wasted because it is empty and without purpose. Living for one day, trying to purify the mind, is better than living for 100 years without spiritual practice. The secret law of nature, discovered by the Lord Buddha, the translocation of all beings from the cycle of rebirth, the four foundations of mindfulness, revealed by Pradharmangala Ajahn V, Venerable Ajahn Tong, Siri Mangalo, Abbot of Wat Phradhatu, Sri Chom Tong, Voravihara, Chiang Mai. The Buddha's teaching is quoted in the Digha Nikaya, the collection of long discourses, Mahavagga Mahaparinibbana Sutta. Ananda, the doctrine and discipline I have set forth and laid down for you shall be your teacher after I am gone. A short biography of Pradharmangala Ajahn V, Venerable Ajahn Tong, Siri Mangalo. The Venerable Pradharmangala Ajahn V, formerly known as Tong Brahmasen, was born on September 21st, 1923, 2466 Buddhist era, at Tompon Ban in Ampur Hot, Chiang Mai. He became a novice at the age of 11 on January 19th, 1934, 2477 Buddhist era, at Wat Na Keng, Tambon Ban In, Ampur Hot, Chiang Mai Province. Kuba Chai Wong was the preceptor. The ordination to be a monk took place at Wat Ban In, Ampur Hot, Chiang Mai on February 7th, 1944, 2487 Buddhist era, with Prat Kru Kampera Tan as preceptor. His religious name in Pali is Siri Mangalo. In the year 2011, 2554 Buddhist era, he received the highest priest's title of Great Noble Meditation Master from the Burmese government, called Aga Maha Kamatana Charya. He is now holding the following positions: Abbot of Wat Phradhatu, Sri Chom Tong, Voravihara, Ampur Tong, Chiang Mai, Advisor to Ecclesiastical Head of Chiang Mai, Director of First Chapter Meditation Center of Chiang Mai, Director of Vipassana Meditation Teacher Center, Northern Region of Thailand. The more agitated the world becomes, the more one who sees danger in the cycle of rebirth actively finds his way under the shade of the Gautama tree, because that is the shade of tranquility which the Lord Buddha has bequeathed to all living creatures. The essence of Buddhism. Why are we born? We are not born merely to pass each day searching for enjoyment. We are not born merely to be obsessed with the delights of worldly pleasure, such as food, carnality, and fame. We are not born to be slaves to this life. We are not born for education, occupation, home, or family. We are not born for these things, and then grow old, get sick, and die. If we were born for them, it would mean that we are born merely to repeat the cycle of rebirth, old age, sickness, and death, to be food for worms. Money and wealth cannot save us from this aimless wandering. We are born to release ourselves from the chains that bind us. We are born to release ourselves from the shackles of desire. We are born to continuously improve ourselves in body and mind, that is, to purify our minds as much as we can, and to pass through the darkness of life's delusions. We are born to stop rebirth, end suffering, and reach Nabana. The law of dependent origination, Paticca Samuppada. The question is whether it is true that human beings are born and pass away repeatedly in cycles of existence. What causes our birth? Why is the cycle of rebirth extended when suffering is eliminated? These complicated questions are immensely difficult to understand. Lord Buddha provided a detailed explanation in the theory called the law of dependent origination, a crucial law of nature. Dependent causation of all phenomena initiates and perpetuates our lives. Studying the principle of dependent origination, we find that the original cause of all suffering, such as aging, death, sorrows, lamentation, grief, physical pain, and mental afflictions, is avidya, or ignorance. According to this law, the chain of origination is as follows. From ignorance, avidya, arise mental formations, sankhara. From mental formation, sankhara, arises consciousness, vijnana. From consciousness, vijnana, arise mind and matter, nama-rupa. From mind and matter, nama-rupa, arise the six senses, six sense base, salayatana. From the six sense basis, the salayatana, arises contact, phassa. From contact, phassa, arises feeling, vedana. From feeling, vedana, arises craving, tanha. From craving, tanha, arises clinging, upadana. From clinging, upadana, arises becoming, bhava. From becoming, bhava, arises birth, jati. From birth, jati, arise decay and death, jara, marana. As we are aware of this, what should we do to escape the power of dependent origination, or cycles of rebirth? Being born repeatedly in the cycle of rebirth is excruciating pain. How does the law of dependent origination, paticca samuppada, cause painfulness? Considering only one lifetime, we can see clearly that there is no stability after birth. We are bound to get old and sick, and finally we die. Therefore, we should be proud of the great blessings that we have been born as humans, have found Buddhism, and have learned the practical way to free ourselves from suffering. Therefore, we should follow the Buddha's teaching by beginning our practice of insight meditation in order to be liberated from the horrible and frightening suffering. How does dependent origination keep us in an endless cycle? For example, when the sensitive part of the eye, comprised of visual nerves, makes contact with visible objects, seeing the objects takes place. This is called eye consciousness, chakku vijnana. This contact, phassa, is called visual contact, chakku phassa. When contact occurs, feeling, pleasure and displeasure results, and the mind becomes fond of or displeased with it. Letting this cycle go on normally in this way means being influenced by dependent origination. Lord Buddha taught us to interpret dependent origination, or conditioned arising, and not let it exert its power on us. How can we interpret it? This practical method prevents dependent origination from drawing us into its cycle. We must sever contact, phassa, when it happens, and not let it lead to feeling by seeing with mindfulness. Just see, and do not go beyond it to we see or I see. Do not take what we see as male or female, good or bad, pleasing or displeasing. Acknowledge and contemplate, seeing with mindfulness, and stop the cycle at the point of contact between the mind and the visible object. Keep practicing in this way. In fact, both the work of the sensitive part of the eye and the visual object happen in a moment, and then they vanish. When they make contact, eye consciousness, chakku vijnana, happens in a flash, and ceases instantly. Thus, if the practitioners strive to acknowledge seeing as just seeing, the chain of dependent origination is finished, and it is unable to go further to be the cause of feeling. Acknowledging the sensory object that arises in time to prevent the conventional truth causes the sensory object to manifest absolute truth. Sensory objects of conventional truth become real through a person's supposition. They are not true in the absolute sense. On the other hand, absolutely true sensory objects are naturally real. The practitioners who keep acknowledging the body and mind can be certain of dwelling not only in absolute truth, conventional truth cannot arise. As a result, the cycle of dependent origination is interrupted, unable to continue. Because the cycle is stopped upon contact, feeling and craving cannot take place. The Noble One's nature. The Noble Ones do what others cannot possibly do, endure what others cannot possibly endure, overcome what others cannot possibly overcome. Thus they achieve what others cannot possibly achieve, spiritual development. Mundane ones, attached to the world, seek what exists and dwell within it. Supramundane ones, rising above the world, look for nothing and abide in nothingness. The doctrine. The path to Nabana. It is the way that was taken by the fully enlightened Buddha and all the perfected disciples. It is characterized by the 5 aspects. 1. Lord Buddha was the one who discovered this way. 2. This way is found only in the Buddhist religion. 3. It is a path that one can only walk by oneself. No one can travel it for anyone else. 4. It is a straight path with no intersections. 5. This way leads to the supreme goal, which is Nabana. Buddhism's main distinctiveness. According to Buddhist belief, the human mind is usually defiled by greed, anger, and delusion. These 3 defilements cause human beings to commit all evil deeds. This is because greed, anger, and delusion single the 3 smouldering inner fires. As long as there is no fuel, the fires do not ignite and cannot be seen. Thus Lord Buddha concluded that preventing human beings from doing evil deeds requires purification of the mind. A person whose mind has been purified will not commit any sin. Since the cause of evil or defilements have been eliminated, Ananda, neither knowledge nor ignorance can be used as measurement. The only measurement is the abandoning of defilements. To reach Nabana, one needs only to abandon defilements. After having abandoned defilements, one can reach Nabana. The mind is an invaluable treasure to human beings. The central teaching of Buddhism is the purification of the mind. This is not taught by any other religion. Lord Buddha taught people to purify the mind through meditation. Meditation. There are 2 kinds of meditation, samatha and vipassana, which differ in both methods and results. The Dhamma that leads the mind away from hindrances is called samatha or tranquility meditation, said the Buddha. The Dhamma that helps one gain insight into the reality of mind and matter and see them as impermanent, subject to suffering and non-self, is called Vipassana or insight meditation. Samatha, tranquility meditation, aims at worldly calmness, leads to Brahmaloka, concentrates on designation or on a long term or a term as the mind object. That is, its method is to focus on something which language names as this or that. Like the 10 kasinas, there are 40 methods in samatha meditation. Vipassana insight meditation aims at supramundane peace, leads to Nabana, focuses the mind on absolute truth, namely corporeality and mentality, that collectively comprise of the 5 aggregates of existence, panchakanda. Samatha Tranquility Meditation. One has to choose an object of meditation most suitable to counter one's personal excesses. For example, a person of a lustful temperament should concentrate on the foul aspects of the human body, or should envisage a corpse. A person with a hateful temperament should develop loving kindness. Provides temporary mind purification, does not lead one to the path, fruition, and the final goal of Buddhism, which is Nabana. Leads to supernormal psychic powers such as flying, walking on water, moving through the earth, etc. Vipassana insight meditation does not distinguish between differing temperaments. It offers everyone a clear path to Nabana. Provides the way to permanent mind purification, leads to the path, fruition, and eventually Nabana. Does not give the practitioners any supernormal psychic powers. One can begin with tranquility meditation to experience the powers a mind can achieve in the meditative process. It then serves as a foundation for the practice of Vipassana meditation. This subsequent practice of insight meditation then continues until one can gain Nabana. The practice of samatha meditation alone is not sufficient for attainment of Nabana. This illustrates in the cases of Alarakalama and Uttakaramaputa, the ascetics and the former gurus of Lord Buddha who failed to reach Nabana. There is no practice to purify the mind, escape suffering, and realize the path, fruition, and Nabana other than the practice of the 4 foundations of mindfulness.